Secretary General, Dorsa Jabari with Aljazeera English. The non-aligned movement, and particularly African countries, seem to be emerging as the conscience of the world on Gaza, what we've seen here over the past few days especially. The Western countries have been talking repeatedly about rules-based international order. Where are the rules now? I want to get your thoughts on what's been coming out of these summits here and the difference that you've seen between the reaction of African countries on the ongoing war in Gaza compared to the Western countries.
The rules are clear. The rules are international law. The rules are the Charter of the United Nations. The rules are international humanitarian law. And we cannot have double standards. And for us it's clear that we are seeing in Gaza a violation of those rules, namely of international humanitarian law, and that situation needs to be corrected. So for us, there are no double standards. For us, the rules are the same, and they apply to everybody, and they are based on what the international community has built, namely through the UN Charter and international law.
Thank you.
Your Excellency, my name is Justin Drolaze. I work for Reuters News Agency. My question is about the plight or the situation refugees and asylum seekers find themselves in. For instance, UK pushed to deport refugees or asylum seekers to Rwanda, and possibility that Ukrainian refugees in Europe could be drafted into the Ukrainian army. What's your comment?
Well, all refugees must be treated equally, and all countries must assume their responsibilities in relation to refugee law. And so we have expressed our opposition to the agreement that you have mentioned. At the same time, I would like to say that Uganda has given a remarkable example of refugee protection. You have much more than 1 million refugees in Uganda, refugees from several neighboring countries, and there has been, since I am High Commissioner, a concern in order to guarantee to those refugees the same conditions of life of the population of Uganda. And this is something that I believe should be used as an example, and namely that European countries should be looking into those examples. And Ukrainian refugees, of course, have the right to be protected, but all refugees are equal and all refugees have the same right. First, it is a clear injustice, a flagrant injustice, that there is not one single African member, permanent member of the Security Council. And the reason is obvious. Most of the countries of Africa were not independent when the UN institutions were created. But in recent declarations, public declarations, I've seen the permanent members being favorable to at least one African permanent member. The United States said so, the Russian Federation said so, China has been positive in this regard, the UK and France too. So for the first time, I'm hopeful that at least a partial reform of the UN Security Council could be possible for this flagrant injustice to be corrected and for Africa to have at least one permanent member in the Security Council. It is not guaranteed, nothing that of course depends on the Secretary General, it depends exclusively on Member States, on the General Assembly, but for the first time I think there are reasons to be hopeful.
Thank you. Just one last question, maybe we'll see how patient Secretary General is. Associated Press.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. My name is Patrick Onen. Mr. Secretary General, you come to Uganda at the backdrop of international condemnation on the Anti-homosexuality Act that the country just passed. The US has passed out some sanctions on Ugandans. What is your stand as the United Nations? And is this something that you have perhaps talked with the Ugandan leadership?
I said yesterday in the summit that there should be not any form of discrimination, and the respect the rights of all minorities should be respected. I just read in my statement to the press, let me see if I can find it again, a sentence in which it is critical to uphold the basic human rights of every person, regardless of background, race, religion, sexual orientation, or political opinion. So my position is, in relation to this, very clear, and it's based on the principle of non-discrimination that must be respected by every country.